What if a simple object could transform the atmosphere of your home? Father Leopoldo Mandić, a man whose faith moved mountains, left behind a striking testament to the power of the rosary at a home's entrance. What he revealed challenges logic and has been experienced by thousands worldwide. This story could change how you protect and bless your home. If you've ever felt the need for special protection, stay with us until the end. Subscribe and hit like now, because this will open your eyes. Father Leopoldo Mandić was a man of unbreakable faith. He spent much of his life in a humble confessional, listening to the woes of the faithful, guiding them toward forgiveness and inner peace. His body was frail, but his spirit, unyielding. Those who knew him said his presence alone filled any environment with calm. But it wasn't just his attitude that left an impression, it was the teachings he imparted with deep conviction. Among his many revelations, one left a lasting impression on those fortunate enough to hear it. One day, a man approached Father Leopoldo, concerned about the situation in his home. He confessed that while he couldn't fully explain it, there was a heaviness in his house, no peace, constant arguments, and a tension among his family as if an invisible shadow hung over them. Father Leopoldo looked at him with compassion and said, "The enemy never rests, always seeking ways to infiltrate homes, sowing discord and hopelessness. But God has given us powerful tools to protect ourselves." Confused, the man asked what he could do. That's when Father Leopoldo spoke of the power of the rosary. He explained that placing a rosary at the home's entrance wasn't just a tradition or a superstitious act but a visible sign of faith, a spiritual proclamation that the forces of evil cannot ignore. Each bead of the rosary is a shield, each prayer a light that dispels darkness. When a home is consecrated to God through the Holy Rosary, the protection is real. The man, moved by these words, decided to try it that very night. He took a rosary and hung it by the front door. At first, he noticed nothing different, but over time, things began to change. The arguments decreased. Where there was tension, now there was harmony. His wife, who had been feeling unmotivated for years, began to find reasons to smile again. His children, who were often irritable and distant, seemed more united. Something had changed, and he was convinced it was no coincidence. Curious about what had happened, he returned to Father Leopoldo to share his experience. Unsurprised, the priest responded, "God always answers when sought with a sincere heart." But there was more the man needed to know. The man looked on expectantly, unaware that what he was about to hear would mark his life forever. Have you ever felt the atmosphere in your home become dense, heavy, or noticed arguments for no apparent reason, or unexplained feelings of restlessness? Now tell me, do you have a rosary at your door, or are you thinking of placing one? I'd love to hear how you live your faith in your home. Comment and let's share this powerful testimony together. If Father Leopoldo Mandić's message has made you reflect, imagine all there is to discover. Hit like if you believe in the power of the rosary and subscribe to keep learning together. You're welcome in this community. The man fell silent, staring intently at Father Leopoldo. He had noticed the changes in his home, but the words he just heard stirred his curiosity and concern. "What do you mean, Father?" he asked, a mix of curiosity and fear in his voice. Father Leopoldo took a breath and, with the patience that defined him, explained, "The presence of the rosary at your home's entrance serves not only as protection but as a sign, a reminder that the house belongs to God. But there's something deeper that many don't understand." The man furrowed his brow, his gaze fixed on the elderly priest. "When you decide to place the rosary in your home, you're making a spiritual decision. It's not just an object, it's a declaration. Places where there's constant prayer and where the Virgin Mary is honored are where God's light shines strongest. But this light also reveals what was once hidden." A chill ran down the man's spine. "Hidden?" Father Leopoldo nodded. "Many people have felt the same as you. First, they notice the returning peace and harmony in their home, but then they begin to perceive something more, unexpected changes in people. Situations that seem normal suddenly reveal their true nature when God enters a home. He not only protects but exposes what needs to be transformed." The man felt a lump in his throat, recalling that since he placed the rosary, his wife had mentioned strange dreams, his young son who never spoke of God had asked if angels could visit people, and he himself felt certain memories of his past return with a force he couldn't ignore. Father Leopoldo placed a hand on his shoulder. "Do not be afraid. God never allows us to see more than we can bear, but he does want us to open our eyes. Some families discover they've been carrying unhealed wounds. Others find things within the home that must be removed, and some simply receive confirmation that their faith has been heard." The man nodded slowly. "So, what should I do now?" The priest smiled gently. "Continue to trust, continue to pray, and understand that when we bring the light of God into our lives, the shadows that once hid can no longer remain concealed." The man left the church with his heart racing, knowing his life would never be the same. And you? Have you ever felt that certain things in your home need to change? Have you noticed signs you didn't see before? Few people know the true meaning of this message. Do you want to be among those who do? Hit like, subscribe, and activate the bell to not miss what no one has told you about these teachings. That night, the man returned home with an uneasy heart. Father Leopoldo's words echoed in his mind. When we bring the light of God into our lives, the shadows that once hid can no longer remain concealed. He stopped in front of his home and looked at the rosary hanging at the entrance. Until now, he had seen it as a symbol of faith, a way to seek protection for his family. But he now understood it was more, an invitation to God's presence. As he crossed the threshold, his wife greeted him with a strange expression. "Today, something odd happened," she said while cleaning the house. "I found an old object I had completely forgotten about." The man felt a chill. What was it? His wife pointed to a small wooden chest on the table. Inside, he found an antique amulet, something he had once bought without much thought and later forgot. Since placing the rosary at the door, she felt the urge to clean the house, to go through old things, and found this. She wasn't sure why, but she felt compelled to get rid of it. The man stood silent, something inside him saying this object, however harmless it seemed, had no place in his home. He remembered Father Leopoldo's words. The light reveals what must be transformed. He took the amulet, left the house, and threw it away. As he returned, he felt an inexplicable relief, as if a shadow had dissipated. That night, his wife confessed something more. "I've had strange dreams since we put the rosary at the door. In my dreams, I see a very bright light in our house, but there are also shadows trying to enter. And every time I wake up, I feel an indescribable peace." The man embraced her, knowing what they were experiencing was no coincidence. God was working in their home. Days later, his young son approached him with a smile. "Dad, last night I dreamed of an angel. He told me our house is a safe place." The man felt a lump in his throat. What started as a simple act of faith had become a transformative experience for his entire family. And most astonishingly, they weren't the only ones who had lived through something like this. Over time, he met others who, after placing a rosary in their home, experienced unexpected changes, family reconciliations, liberation from feelings of anguish, even testimonies of emotional healing. Father Leopoldo Mandić was right. The rosary was not just an object, it was an open door to God's grace. Now, tell me, have you ever felt the need to bring more light into your home? Have you wondered what could change if you decide to invite God into every corner of your life? More people are discovering the truth about the power of the rosary in the home. Will you be the next? Don't stay out. Subscribe now and hit like so this message can continue to reach more people. As days went by, the man began to notice something he had never experienced, a true peace in his home and within himself. It was no longer just the absence of conflict or the returned harmony in his family, but something deeper, a certainty, a security that God was there, protecting them. Every time he looked at the rosary at the entrance, he remembered Father Leopoldo's words. God never imposes himself. He gently touches the door and waits to be let in. Now he understood the truth behind those words. It wasn't the object itself that worked miracles, but it represented a declaration of faith, a call to God's presence in their lives. In his village, similar stories began to circulate. Other families who had placed a rosary at their door spoke of inexplicable changes. People suffering from insomnia now sleeping in peace. Homes where arguments seemed to have vanished, and young people who had lost their ways suddenly feeling the desire to draw closer to God. It was then that the man decided to return to the church to tell Father Leopoldo everything. However, upon arriving, he learned that the old priest had passed on to the father's house. A void filled his chest. He hadn't had the chance to thank him personally. But as he looked towards the confessional where he had so often seen him, a certainty filled his heart. Father Leopoldo's teachings would never die because every soul he had touched carried his legacy. That day, he understood something that would mark his life forever. It's not the rosary at the door that changes the home, it's the faith with which it's placed. We can surround ourselves with religious symbols, fill our homes with images and sacred objects, but if our faith is weak, if we don't truly open our hearts to God, nothing will change. The rosary at the door was just the beginning of a journey, a reminder that each day he must choose to trust, pray, and draw closer to God. Perhaps at this moment, you too feel a call within you. Maybe you've noticed that in your home there's a lack of peace or that your life needs a change you can't express in words. Today, I want to tell you the same thing Father Leopoldo told that man. Open the door to God. It doesn't matter how long you've been away or how many doubts you have. God is waiting patiently, ready to transform your life. If this message has resonated with your heart, make the decision today. Place a rosary at your home's entrance and, more importantly, place it at the center of your life. You are already part of this community, and your voice matters. What is your experience with the rosary at home? Has it brought you peace, protection, or changes in your life? Comment and let's share this powerful message together. Here, we're not just spectators, we're a family seeking answers and protection for the home. If you want to continue being part of this, subscribe and hit like. Your presence here makes a difference. Thank you for staying with me until the end. Your time and attention are valuable, and I'm glad you've been part of this story. See you in the next video, and may God bless you.